Today AI is writing code, building websites, fixing bugs, and I think the big question is still worth learning software engineering and becoming a software engineer in 2025 with all these things? Hi, my name is Anto. I am a software engineer with almost 2 decades of experience. I run this YouTube channel where I talk about my experiences and I try to help junior software engineers or aspiring software engineers. So if you are one of them, click subscribe if you want to know more and you want to receive the next videos. Why I'm making this video? I'm making this video because lots of friends have their kids that about to start the uni and they're asking me if it's a good idea or not. And I think let's see first why people think that AI will replace developers. We are seeing lots of videos and lots of news. If you just put on YouTube the word AI, you can see that a number of results with AI made me millions, how I created my startup as a solopreneur with AI and all these things. I think it's possible, but most of the time I noticed that these videos are made by people that never coded and they somehow managed to get some working application. That is cool, and today we have the tools to do that. And that is one aspect, but we had this in the past with different other technologies that were making life easier and replacing some jobs. But again, most of the jobs haven't been technically replaced, they evolved, right? If you don't have a need to do a specific thing anymore, you just need to look at what is next. The other thing is also the fear of automation replacing a number of jobs, but in my opinion those jobs, if can be automated, why not? We should try to do things that are unique to our skills instead of trying to do things that can be done by a software, right? But now let's also see what AI cannot do. There are a number of things that I think AI is struggling at the moment. One of them is, for example, understanding the business requirements, understanding how to solve business problems that are specific to a business and unique. So what you get most of the time when you try to solve a problem with AI, you find a generic solution because AI is using whatever has been done before and tries to build on that foundations. What I use AI for is for brainstorming and trying to understand different angles of a problem. So I think it's an excellent tool to enhance yourself, but not to replace yourself. I think I've already made a couple of videos where I talk about this. So the next thing that AI cannot do is writing maintainable code. Every time I write something with AI, I notice that one, there is never a test created. Two, the examples that creates are completely different from one to the other. And most of the time, they don't have a proper structure or a consistent style. And that makes for me code really hard to maintain because the first thing I look at the code is how readable that code is and how consistent throughout the code base that code is. Because when we navigate the code base, we need to simplify our analysis by using some conventions. And that is still something that AI is struggling to do properly. The other things that AI struggles with are dealing with ambiguity, security, and systems thinking. When I say systems thinking, I mean looking at your problems in a holistic view and not just including your little application code, but also the entirety of your system. So how are you gonna deploy, how you gonna maintain the application, how you gonna test in lower environment, all these other things are missed. So most of the time all this news is like, oh, my application works, yes, but try to change it and you're gonna break it most of the time. So for me that is still the hardest part that requires human beings, and that is where I think we should focus, especially if you are starting the journey. Start to understand that that is the area that you should refine. So I have another video where I talk about the 6 fundamentals to become a software engineer. If you want, you can watch the video up here. And finally, what AI cannot do is collaborate with humans. That's still not happening in the same way human interactions happen, and in the same way people work together to a problem and find together solutions. I think it's more a one-way type of communication that happens with AI. Most of the time you may get some ideas, but it's just making you faster instead of making you smarter. I think when you work with another human, you combine both brains and you get a superior brain. With AI, that is not happening. And it's hard to explain, but if I found the right words, I may probably try to make another video in the future. So this part is to essentially say that the way I see AI is AI will write code, but you will build systems. You will compose things. And this has been happening in the past as well. So if you look at low-level languages, with the improvement on the language, most of the things we didn't need to know how to do them anymore. Even for simple things like data structure. Once you know data structure, you're not going to recreate an algorithm to manipulate that data structure. You're just going to use one. So does it mean you're not a good engineer? No. Once you understand, you know that at any time you can spend a bit of time and then go deep into that topic, but you don't need to have ready available everything at every time. You just need to make sure you understand that you can go back to that. So now let's see how AI enhances developers. I think I already mentioned the best way is using AI as a co-pilot, as a way to brainstorm, as a way to express your thoughts. And you may be surprised, but this is a very old technique called the rubber duck technique or the rubber duck debugging. And this is essentially, you can Google it, but you have a small yellow rubber duck on your desk and you try to explain the problem to that rubber duck. And while explaining, the solution will come to you. So most of the time, what we are doing, we have just replaced the plastic rubber duck with ChatGPT or with the AI tool that we're using. So it's a little bit more advanced than the rubber duck, 100%. So I agree with you on that side, but the essence is still the same. The fact that we can articulate the problems that we have will help us understanding and fixing those problems. With the help of AI, we get more inputs that can spark our imagination, can help us finding a solution faster. So is AI an accelerant? 100%. The other thing is with AI, you have a faster feedback. Most of the time before AI, I was going on Google trying to figure out and find other articles from people. Now I go on AI that will combine that for me, and then I go on Google to validate if that thing is an hallucination or is something true. This is definitely a way to go faster. So I think today engineers have the opportunity to become quickly 10x engineers with tools like AI that will support them. Finally, AI is amazing for learning. If you want to learn something and you have a clear topic, ask AI to build a structured program. Most of the time, we end up not being able to learn or understand the topic because we don't know how to enter that specific world. But with AI, it's easier to build a structured way of learning, and then you can use the traditional tools like Google or combine AI with search engines to learn in a better way, in a structured way. So this is the huge advantage that AI will give you. So now let's finally answer the question. Probably you have guessed what is my opinion. My opinion is that yes, it's still a good career. Yes, there's still a need for software engineers. And yes, I think if there is one job that will stay, it's probably this, because if every other job will be replaced by AI, who is gonna supervise and fine-tune the models and improve all these models? So eventually everybody will have some sort of AI knowledge, because it's going to be like driving a car, it's going to be like using a phone. These are tools that we're going to use every day. It's unimaginable that you won't be able to operate an AI tool. So now what I see is a shift in what we have to learn and what we have to focus. So if you want to know how to build a strong foundation to become an excellent software engineer in the era of AI, watch this video to see what are the 6 most important things you need to learn to build a strong foundation to become an amazing software engineer. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye.